Hello, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to our LinkedIn Live. So it's our paid versus organic for UK law firms. This is going to be a bit of a sort of snappy, less formal session investigating what is a better way to spend your firm's budget. So is it going to be paid? Is it going to be organic? Where is best to spend your money and your time at the moment? So if you have any questions, could you please pop them in as comments? There's a little bit of a lag because we're going via StreamYard. So if you want to pop them in as you go, and what we'll do is we'll try and pick them up either as we go or more towards the end. So just first of all, an introduction to me. My name's Heather Murray. I'm director at Beasting Digital. We're a content strategy agency. So we do content strategy, copywriting and training. And one of our specialist areas is in law. I worked in law myself for 13 years at places like Beechcroft, Osborne Clarke, and in KPMG as well. So very warm welcome to everybody. And over to you, Garret, another fellow Brummie accent.
Yeah, it's great to see everyone on the call. My name's Garret. I run a company called Ads for Lawyers. As the name suggests, we work exclusively within the legal sector, and we run a range of different services, from kind of paid marketing on search platforms, and we also do a lot on Facebook, Instagram and social media platforms as well. Excited to go through everything with Heather here and provide some value in terms of the two different potential avenues when it comes to marketing and gaining clients for your firm.
Brilliant stuff. So I think probably a really good place to start is by explaining what paid and what organic marketing actually are. I think it's really good to just define those two things. So Garret, do you want to go first with your explanation of what paid is?
Yeah, perfect. So paid really is it's a form of marketing, whereas the name suggests, you're paying some sort of budget towards it. But what you're really paying for with paid marketing is you're paying for eyeballs, you're paying for traffic, you're paying for leads, you're paying for clients, and really what you're really paying for is to be put in front of your ideal client at the ideal time. I like to use the hunter and farmer analogy between the two. Paid really is going out there and it's hunting for that business, for those leads and converting those clients. And it's got a very quick turnaround, but it's also very heavily results based. Whereas the farmer side of things, which Heather will touch on now, is a lot more nurturing in a different way, where you're playing a bit of a longer game. Is that fair to say, Heather?
Yeah, definitely. It's about generating traffic to your firm's site, or generally the site actually, but just attracting attention over time. It's all about sort of cultivating, and I love that farmer analogy. So cultivating relationships over time. So sowing lots of different seeds, trying to attract attention. So you've got trying to go for more, it's organic, that's why it's called organic. So natural, organic way of providing content that people actually want to read themselves. So it's not a pushy, it's not in your face, it's not, you must read this. It's kind of, I'm actually genuinely interested about that. That talks about a problem that I've got. And then being guided all the way through that sort of awareness that you actually exist, through to consideration and kind of, what does this company actually do? What can they do for me? And then finally conversion into a client, or don't forget into recruit as well. So content marketing, organic content works really well for attracting new recruits for your firm, but it also can help you attract new business too. So over the course of this webinar, we're going to explore several topics and see who wins out. So is it going to be paid with Garret, or is it going to be organic with me? Hopefully me, because I'm obviously all team organic. So let's look at the first one. So one of the biggies, of course, we're talking about budgets here, so it's price. Garret, do you want to go first? Put your case forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So price is something that it's everyone's going to discuss when it comes to marketing your firm. And as the name suggests, with paid, there's always some sort of cost involved. What I would say when it comes to paid marketing is the cost can vary greatly, really, depending on a few different factors, whether that's the platform that you're advertising on as one. If you're going more down the social media route, it's a lot cheaper than, say, a search-based platform like Google. The reason being because you're reaching a cold audience on Google. One of the huge benefits that you have is really you're being put in front of people that are actively looking for the service you're providing at that given time. So it's, that's one difference. Another could be the service that's being offered as well. it can be a lot more expensive for maybe more competitive services within the legal sector. So one that we've looked at, for example, could be injury versus immigration, for example. And the cost per click on immigration can be sub £5 on Google, whereas at injury it can be at that level, but it's also worth considering because of the client value on the back end and the potential there, that it can go up to kind of £30-40. But one of the huge benefits, I guess, when it does come to the pricing, if there is one for paid advertising, it's that you can play within your means. One thing we suggest when we talk to firms really is to work a little bit backwards in terms of how many clients are you hoping to achieve, how many clients do you want to instruct, how many leads do you need to gain that amount of clients, and then you can decipher really a suitable budget to fit the goals of the firm over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, I really like that working backwards, that sort of reverse engineering. You can work out, how much that client is worth to you, and what are you willing to pay to acquire them. But I do think organic is probably going to win this one, actually, because we're free. I suppose technically not free, because you need the employee time, and if you're going to use freelance writers, if you're going to use freelance content strategists, you're going to use agencies like mine, of course there is a cost to that, but there's no pay to play. So if you think about, of course, social media platforms, they're all in a freemium sort of model. So that free version can be so powerful. So my own LinkedIn profile, my entire business over the last 2.5 years, and we have clients like Unilever, we've worked with Nokia, Starling Bank, HSBC, they were all via my own organic content marketing, which was me updating my own personal LinkedIn profile, just the free version repeatedly, and attracting those right people and giving them the content that they wanted to see to create an inbound inquiry for me. So it can be incredibly powerful. Of course, as I say, there's always the paid options, which give you a little bit more power. But even then, they're not too expensive. And then you've got to think about your own channels as well. So you've got your website, which of course, that's an investment when you set that up. But it doesn't cost anything to upload a blog. It doesn't cost anything to, apart from your hosting, of course, to then update a page on your website. So the actual active marketing on that site, just from that point on, from when it's set up, doesn't really cost that much. And then email as well. Again, probably pay a small monthly fee for your emails, but you're not paying per email that you send out. I feel like, unlike paid, every action you take has a cost to it, whereas with organic, it doesn't. So I reckon we've got this. I would say it's a win for organic.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'd say, I know you touched on it a little bit there, Heather, between the time spent versus the actual cost itself. But how much time would you say it really takes to kind of build up that strategy, especially when you've mentioned so many different avenues that you can explore?
It takes, the content strategy is a really, really in-depth process. You're looking at auditing your content, you're looking at analysing your competitors, analysing your audience, doing all that keyword research, mapping out those keywords, creating calendars. There's so much to do. For us, generally, and we bear in mind we have a whole content team, it takes us about 2 months to complete a full content strategy. If you were able to work on it completely full time and you had the right skills, I think you could probably do a decent job in a month. I think it's, as I say, it's a really, really big undertaking, but it's well worth it when you think about the return on investment that you can get. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, the longevity of that as well. It's not just a switch it on, you get results, switch it off, you don't. Content marketing, it's slow burn, high return. It takes a while, but you'll get a lot from it if you do it right. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say maybe you take that one to begin with.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll put that up as a
put the banner up already in anticipation.
No, perfect. Yeah, I think that's 1-0 on your side, I guess, from a paid standpoint. Yeah, I think organic does take that crown.
Brilliant. Sorry, Gemma, can we have the next slide, please? Thank you very much. We've got our lovely Gemma in the background sorting our slides because I've had technical issues again. So, okay, right. So the next category we're going to look at is speed. So it's really important, that when you're looking at cost, but you're also looking at speed. So how fast can you start seeing results? So I think I'm going to kick off here. I will say, like I just said, it's slow burn, high return with content marketing. SEO, for example, takes about 6 to 12 month to start showing results from your efforts, because Google just takes a long time to index pages. It depends on the difficulty of the keywords that you're going for. So there are some what we call low-hanging fruit, and they might be much lower difficulty keywords that not many other people are going for, but they might be really high intent. So the people that you really want are typing them in. So you might be able to get those a little bit more quickly. But generally, they say 6 to 12 months with SEO. So it's a bit of a slog. It's not instant. Socials, as I say, one post can get an instant response and can bring in loads of clients, but you do have to spend a long time growing your following. You can't just open a Facebook account, open a LinkedIn account and start getting those leads. You do need to spend a lot of time nurturing, and of course being social, particularly on LinkedIn. That sort of networking is really, really important. It's not just about putting content out there. And the same with email as well. Again, email still is probably the most important tool to be using. It's the most successful one when it comes to ROI, but again, building email lists as well. So you can do your cold, you can do your warm. Warm takes a long time to kind of, really encourage people in and encourage them to give you their email addresses and build that trust. So yeah, it does take a little while. I feel like this one might be a little bit more of a paid one. So over to you.
Yeah. I guess the advantage for paid, really, one of the huge benefits is that the results really can be quite instant. One of the huge advantages is the speed in which really you can start today and actually be in that top 3 ranking Google tomorrow. It's incredible from that standpoint. Granted, there is always testing period, and you want to run different ads and you want to trial different keywords for PPC, for example. But you really can start generating inbound inquiries in days. We had a professional negligence client, for example, in London, and in the first month of working together, we were able to generate 5 actual instructions, 5 initial consultations, and further instructions off the back of their first month of the Google ad campaign. Wow. So it is incredible from that standpoint in terms of generating that ROI and those instructions.
Yeah. I mean, how long do paid ads take to set up?
Yeah. So the one thing I'd say is it is dependent again on the platform. All platforms, whether it's social media or Google, they will all have some sort of targeting strategy in the background. Social media, you'll want to create kind of branded graphics, whereas Google, you'll use a lot more text. But what I would say, we'll always look at kind of what's worked in the past and previously, and the real time isn't taken when it comes to just setting up the ads itself. The real time's in the background of doing the keyword research, looking at ad copy, what ad copy is working, running competitor analysis to see what everyone else in the area is doing and what's working for them, and really just gaining that overall understanding of what is needed in order to bring in your ideal clients.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of strategy behind it in the same way there is for organic as well. It's not just switch it on, is it? But one thing I think that people might be thinking, because I certainly was, I scroll past the paid ads a lot. Like if I'm looking for something, I'll be like, right, I know they're paid, scroll, and then go to the organic. Maybe it's because I'm an organic marketer, I don't know. But don't people just do that? Do people actually click on paid ads?
It's interesting, and I'd say that people do when the copy isn't strong, for number one.
Okay.
I mean, you might be surprised to know that the paid clicks actually outranks organic clicks by about 2 to 1.
Okay.
So it's dependent really on also the search itself. What I would say is if you're looking for something with commercial intent, if you're looking for something there and then, you're actually 8 times more likely to use a PPC ad. Whereas if you're searching for something a little bit more informative, you want a bit more information on a certain topic, you'll just scroll down and you'll tend to go for what ranks higher. One thing that I suggest to look at is the Google heat map for when people actually search online, and you'll see where they always go to and where the mouse tends to go to immediately and what they'll end up clicking on off the back of searching. But what I would say when it comes to, say, PPC, like you've mentioned there, the main thing to look at is to ensure that you're coming in those top 3 options on Google. I'm sure you've noticed, you could actually have some ads that can appear at the bottom free selection.
Mm-hmm.
So really, when you're running those campaigns, making sure you come at the top above the organic searches is really vital. So making sure your ad rank is on point, the relevancy and the click-through rates are all working to an optimum level. So if there's anyone in here that's maybe run Google Ads in the past, I'd suggest looking at your auction insights on your Google account and seeing what percentage of your ads are showing at the top of page. If it's around that 60% mark then or below, I'd suggest a boost is needed on that front to get to that top free selection.
Oh, good advice there. Brilliant, thank you. So what do we reckon? Who's a winner?
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say we take that one, Heather, to level it up.
I can't claim that. I can't claim getting 5 leads in the first month. No. Okay, brilliant. So next up, we've got accuracy. There's not much point getting all this traffic. And this is something when clients come to us, they often come to us saying, yeah, we've got loads of traffic, but actually they're not the people we want to speak to. They don't have enough money. They don't have the right intent. They're not our ideal clients at all. So I think a lot of people go wrong there. So I think accuracy is a really good one for us to talk about. So for me, organic can be targeted in lots of different ways. So although social is a bit broad, you kind of have to target with the copy itself. So I know that you can't determine who's going to follow your page, for example. You can hope that the right people do, but it is still that broader match. But you can target with the copy itself. So sometimes with my posts, I will actually be really specific about a pain point. Do you find that you're getting really low dwell time on your landing pages? That will filter out all of the people that are getting high dwell time, and everybody's really interested. And dwell time is time spent on page for those who don't know. And that will attract the right audience for me. So are you, a law firm that's repositioning themselves? Are you going through a merger? We worked recently with the Clyde & Co and BLM merger. Are you looking to change your voice? You can be really specific with that copy, and that will help to target people. Email can be a bit more targeted as you speak into specific individuals, and you can segment it out and you can group them out. And then SEO is about the same thing as well. So it's all about getting the right search intent. So that we could do a whole session on search intent. And I think it's something that crosses over into paid as well. So you've got to pick the keywords, something like employment law, for example. That might be people looking for help. It might be a business, say if you're, looking for a small business that wants help with their employment law. That's your target client. You're probably going to get some of those, but you're also going to get people who aren't at all interested in that. And there might be students, who are researching employment law. So these we call them longer tail. So slightly longer keywords are often better for getting search intent. So it might be maybe employment law help for small business would be a better keyword for you because it would have higher search intent. So I won't go on about that too much, but you can be targeted, but you just have to be clever about it when it comes to the accuracy of organic.
Okay, perfect. Some interesting points, and like you said, we could do a full session on that side of things.
Yeah.
I guess really from paid, what we can do when it comes to the accuracy of targeting people, the opportunities really are quite endless in who you can reach and who you want to reach. We always use Google at the backbone of any paid campaign that we do, and I'd suggest any law firm that is thinking about paid marketing and is wondering how to kind of dip their toe into it, I would say Google's a great place to start. Mainly because it really provides a plethora of warm leads that are coming through. There's people every day that are searching for the services that are being offered by your firm. So how can you be put in front of those people at the right time when they're ready to instruct? And Google's a great avenue for that side of things. You can narrow down who you're trying to reach within your campaigns by the location. Do you want to go kind of more local? Do you want to appear more nationwide? As a lot of firms are doing since COVID, you can do kind of the age, the gender. One thing that we done for categories, this is something that Google's brought in, and we had a client that was running divorce campaigns, and they wanted to really hone in on high net worth individuals, people that had a certain amount of assets. So it was like, how could we narrow down our searches to appear to those type of people on Google? And there's categories that we brought into campaigns, such as business owners, so people that were perceived to be business owners based on past activity. That our ads would come up for those a lot more. We looked at targeting people that were concerned with stuff around property and asset protection within divorce, and these type of targeting really brought in that high net worth individual. Another avenue you can look at is LinkedIn, dependent on the service that you're offering, that you're trying to bring in clients for. But you can target people and have your firm showing up for people that are in certain industries, people that have certain job titles, and you can even target people on their seniority level at the businesses that they're working at. So it's really the opportunities for really honing in on who you want to target. Once you have that knowledge of who your ideal client is, it's endless on a paid front of how deep you can go.
Yeah, I mean, do you have to pay a premium? So if you wanted to be shown in sort of specific locations or specific audiences, you have to pay a sort of premium for that?
No, absolutely not. And I guess that's what the beauty of paid ads is, and why it's so fruitful for firms across the country and across the world, is that you can target people, whether you want to go more locally and have a local campaign for people in the area, if you want to go nationwide, if you have a certain type of client in mind, when set up correctly, really the results that can come off the back of that are incredible. So the more information you have, and I'd always ask firms to sit down and really think about who they're trying to hone in on, and then looking at stuff that we've mentioned before when it comes to the keywords, what type of searches would those people be making online, and really just writing down everything you can about your ideal customer before setting up that campaign and have it running to hit that audience.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking scores on the doors. Yeah.
Yes. So I think we take that one there to make it too long.
I'm not liking these scores at all, so I'm going to bring one in. So longevity, I'm going to take this one, I'm sure. So which method brings more long-lasting results? Because in the end, when you're investing a lot of money, you want long-lasting results. You want them to carry on going even when you're not doing that activity, because who's got the time to keep on something that requires a lot of attention. So I think, do you want to go first with longevity, Garret?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start off on this one. And we've paid ads really that when it comes to longevity, they last as long as you're willing to run these campaigns. What I would say, it's about building that solid foundation early on of what generates work for the firm, what brings in kind of leads at a reasonable cost. One of the huge benefits is that you can almost provide your department with a reliable and predictable tap that feeds the team warm leads that are ready to be converted, and you can turn this tap on and off as you need. You can pull back a bit when you've got a lot of work on, and you can scale it. But the when it comes to the longevity, as you know, Heather, the algorithms can change on a lot of platforms, so you constantly want to be looking for updates, what changes need to be made. And one of the most vital things really is constantly optimizing your campaigns. You really want to be testing against what works consistently. We suggest every 7-10 days to test against whether it's a particular ad group, whether it's a particular ad copy, whether it's bringing in new headlines, new keywords. You want to test against, so you can constantly be improving performance in some way, whether it's the click-through rate, whether it's the cost per lead and bringing that down, the cost per conversion. But doing these tests and bringing that down will just maintain that consistent ROI for the campaign. And that's, when it comes to paid, that's something that you're always looking at, is that ROI. Are you bringing in more than you're spending? But I know with organic, the longevity is a lot
It
a
is,
lot to the paid side in how you look at it, so you can go on that side, Heather.
yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's quite simple with organics. As I keep on saying, slow burn, high return. It takes a long time to start seeing results, but when you switch it off, well, like when you stop, making the effort in some areas, it can keep working for you. So a really good example. So backlinks. So you could write a really amazing article, and that article gets picked up by what we call a high domain authority website. So that could be actually a live example. I've just written an article for Starling Bank. So they've got a really good website, and that's going to give us a backlink to the Beasting Digital page. So what that means, it tells Google that this is a page to be trusted because this very trusted site believes that this information is good. And that this website is valid. So what it's going to do is help push that page for us that it's linking to on our website up, and that will stay there for a really long time until somebody else comes along with a better one, which is, it's a really long time to get there. So the more of those you can get, which is why this sort of PR works, in a really brilliant way. And then so guest blogging, so trying to get into the trade magazines, websites that are trusted. Credible sources, offer to write things for people, and that can really be the gift that keeps on giving for you. And I think with your blogs, if you're writing about what we call an evergreen topic, so you can have sort of lots of different types of blogs, content curation, for example, where you put all the different local news in the into one article, save people the time of going to different sources. That's amazing, but all that news is going to get old really, really fast. So that will have a bit of a peak when you first post it, and then it'll go down and probably won't get many more views after that. But if you cover an evergreen topic, so it's generally something quite high level, something that explains something, and it's a bit of a guide. How-to guides are really, really useful for those. And ebooks are just that are an overview of a topic. That's your evergreen content. So that means that people are going to keep on finding it, keep on seeing it, and the more traffic it gets, the more it's pushed up. And as I say, gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, one thing that I've always thought when speaking to clients and looking at ourselves as well, when it comes to SEO, is there seems to be kind of so many avenues of where to build, where to strengthen, whether it's the content that you've mentioned, whether it's blogs, backlinks, website updates. How do you decide and put those all together to really decipher what the best strategy for any particular firm is?
Well, you're right. There's absolutely tons of stuff, tons and tons of options when it comes to content. And if it's like anything, it's kind of like with the social media channels. Don't try and do them all at once. Try to specialize in one. The best firms that we work with, and let's be honest, it's LinkedIn generally that is their best channel. They focus on that one channel. They do have other channels, but their main resources and focus go into one. They don't try and master each and every single channel. They're not on all the different ones. But so a lot of people come with a sort of stick your finger in the air type of content strategy, and they kind of think, we think are the people that we want to attract, the clients that we want to attract like this, so we're going to write about that and see if it works. That's not the best way to attract it. So you need to analyze what has been working for you. So have a look at what you've done, content audit, have a look at what you've done, what has attracted attention. Then look at what your competitors are doing as well. And so all this information is wide open for you. It's so much data. It's just knowing what to do with the data. Who exactly your audience is as well. We've worked with big firms that have thought that their audience is one person, and actually when we've done a digging, it's not at all. So it's kind of bringing your audience from what it is currently to what you actually want it to be too, and tweaking content, tweaking the way you phrase things, what you talk about, awareness levels of certain things. If you want people who are brand new to a topic, you can do lots of explainer content. If you want people who are very expert in a topic, you might be more white papers, that type of thing, and just really showcasing your expertise, expert interviews, all of that sort of stuff. It's all content. So it involves a lot of work, involves this content strategy. Some elements of organic always work well when they're done. So email, when it's done well, SEO when it's done well, absolutely amazing. But some of the things like using the wrong social channel, like for us, Facebook doesn't work at all. It can flop if the demand's not there, so it'd be a waste of resource. So it's really about putting the work in, creating that content strategy before you actually start putting time and resource into it.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So I guess you want to narrow down really prior what the best route is, what the best channel is, and then implement that working strategy for farms. Okay,
definitely.
Lovely. Yeah, I think you take organic or take that one. When it comes to the longevity. So yeah,
Good stuff. We're neck and neck. So next up we've got variation. So putting the same content out there repeatedly can get very boring. You don't want to follow a feed when somebody's just putting the same picture up, the same type of post. You don't want to read the same blog in the same format every single time. So which type with organic or paid offers the most variety and choice in what you can offer your audience? So variation. Garret, do you want to go for it first?
Yeah, so I guess with paid marketing, really, it's very, as we've mentioned, it's very direct. One route, kind of straight down the pipe to the type of people that you're trying to reach. And the goal is always, as I've said, the goal is always to generate that ROI. So when approaching paid marketing, really, you've got to be bringing in those inquiries, nurturing those inquiries between the stage of inquiry and client, and then converting those on the back end. That's really the generic life cycle of a paid campaign when trying to generate the ROI. So within that cycle, you can have quite a varied approach. If you're going on social media, for example, it's a bit more of a life cycle when it comes to converting someone from being in your audience to actually being an inquiry. Because they're colder and you've got to bring them in, you might have something for them to engage with, similar to what you've mentioned. Have some sort of post, it may be some downloadable link that you're putting out there to tick those people as, okay, they've got some level of interest in what we're offering, and then you can retarget those and bring those in. If you're going on Google, it's very direct and you're just being put at the forefront of the searches that people are making online. So there's less scope, I'd say, to step out of those boxes and become that authority figure by having that organic, entertain, educate and informing strategy. But what you are doing is it's really just directly going after leads, going after clients and bringing those into your firm and being that almost an authority within the paid space, and being at the top of the searches for really competitive keywords is where you can have that type of approach and be a little bit more varied in that side of things.
Yeah, I think it's difficult as well. Like with the more competitive keywords, that's a lot harder for you're probably going to need to put a bit of money behind. Well, you will need to put a bit of money behind that for content, and that's when sort of the organic turns into paid, because you'll need to do some paid ads or a technical SEO to make sure, or buy some backlinks as well. So there's lots of different things you can do to try and attract more of those sort of those high difficulty keywords. So within organic, we can be really varied. So like that, think about that hunter farm, and that hunter's, it's very specific. The farm is, we can grow all different types of crops, if we're going to stick with that analogy. But we can entertain, we can educate, we can inform, we can answer questions. It can be video, it can be infographics, it can be in every form possible. It could be an audio, podcast. We are really, really blessed when it comes to variation, and it's all about trying lots of different things to see what's going to attract the attention of the people that you want the attention of. I would say that organic has got this one, I reckon. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'd like to run through is when it comes to that variety, does it actually take away from the ideal client that you're trying to reach by maybe being a little bit too varied in your approach? What do you think when it comes to that side of things?
I wouldn't say it was. I'd say it's variety is about sort of different customers. So each customer, you've got your ideal client. So each client is at a different stage of the journey. So they might not know you exist. They might know you exist, but not sure exactly what you do. They might know exactly what you do, and they're pitting you against your competitors. And they might be, right, okay, I definitely want to go with them, but I just need that final nudge. So those different levels of awareness. And plus, they come from different places. They might come from different levels of seniority. They might come from just different knowledge and expertise levels, different job titles. All of those things require different approaches. And so that's why it's a good thing. So you can have different content for different people. So I think it doesn't take away from the ideal customer at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, perfect. Yeah, I think organic maybe just about pips
Yeah.
that one and goes out in the lead for that area.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, so next one is relationships. So today's
Mm,
world is all about building relationships with the people that you'd like to sell to. So it's not going straight in with a hard cold sell. We're sort of, it's not about broadcast marketing anymore like it used to be in the olden days with your TV ads and your billboards and your radio ads when it's just straight one way. It's now about a two-way relationship. So
mm.
yeah. Garret, what do you think when it comes to relationship building with paid ads?
Yeah, so I think that paid brings you really down a different route when it comes to starting those relationships. Like we said, it's really about giving you the eyeballs, generating that traffic, and granted, organic can do that. It can take a little bit more of a snowball effect to maybe build up to a certain level. Whereas what paid can do is it can right then and there, depending on the budget available, is it can bring you into an audience that you're really trying to maybe start building relationships with. It can
Mm,
bring them into the eye line of the firm, and it can bring them onto the website. It can get them making those inquiries, and put yourself in front of those people at the right time when they're looking for the services that are being offered. But what I
yeah.
would say is when it comes to that side of things on paid, it does require that organic touch maybe to continue the relationship from that point. But what it does is it just speeds up the process of really bringing in the larger audience for you to start building a relationship with. But once you've got that, and if you have the paid strategy at the forefront, and you're bringing in, you know, hundreds, thousands of people to your firm every week, every month, whatever it may be, you can have a proportion of those that are inquiring, that then engage, that really like the firm, that maybe follow on social media and stuff of that nature. And then organic can actually build the relationship from there on out. What do you
Yeah,
reckon with that?
yeah, completely agree. Yeah, I think paid ads can really capture the attention, and we build a relationship following that. I think we
Mm,
can we've got to think about when you bring it back to social media, we're able to put something out there and say, what do you think? And then get that live interaction. You know, we really like this, we don't really like this, ask questions, answer questions. Like people often, and actually we've just been doing an audit of law firm company pages on LinkedIn. And we found that actually people are really missing out on opportunity there. So we saw loads of law firms with loads of followers, and they you know, they're getting good engagement, but they're not replying to the comments on their posts.
mm,
And we think, oh, that's such a good opportunity to not only for the algorithm, you know, to get that post, you know, on the feed for a little bit longer, but also to start
mm.
building those relationships with, I think with a lot of it is potential recruits, but also potential new business, whatever partnerships you're looking for, whoever you're looking to attract. There is that kind of two-way street. When it comes to content, particularly with social, it's excellent for that. And then with emails, all they need to do is hit reply. It's opening a dialogue, and I think that you can't really beat that for relationship building. So I would say I've got another one, I reckon.
Yeah,
Jumping ahead of
definitely.
the
And I'd say it adds that human touch as well. People
yeah.
tend to like to do business with people rather than businesses. So
Oh, absolutely.
by having those kind of custom messages, emails, comments that are going out, it does build, like we said, builds that relationship and adds the human touch to things.
Yeah.
I guess off the back of that, do you find that you can spend a little bit too much time maybe sending out messages to people who aren't actively interested? Is their time better well spent elsewhere? What do you think on
Yeah.
that?
Again, strategy. If you know what you're doing and you've targeted exactly the right people. So say if you were, again, talking about LinkedIn, I'm obsessed with LinkedIn, but it's so good for lawyers and for law firms, anybody in legal actually. You if you know exactly who you want to speak to, then you can't really go too far wrong, because you can be really targeted. Again, going back to the targeting sort of thing, you can speak to specific people with specific job titles, but it's more about sort of attracting the right people than sort of reaching out to them. So I think the right people, if your messaging is right, the right people will start coming into you. But think about, you know, the higher the value. So if, you know, the value of these instructions is very high, and it's a really big contract, then the higher the value, the higher the involvement, of course. So you're going to need a lot of back and forth and a lot of relationship building time. That's really important to remember. The average person, I think it's 12 touch points at the moment. So they will see 12 pieces of content before they make a decision. Obviously, it's very different if this is organic and not paid, because they might make a decision after one. But yeah, they will see 12 different pieces of content. So it could be a social post, it could be an email. They might not even be aware they're seeing them, because they could scroll past something on their socials. They could see a web page, they could pick up a brochure. There's all these different things. But the higher the involvement, the more you're going to look at. So think if you're buying a house, you're not going to suddenly go in, see the house once and then buy it. You're going to want to read up on the neighborhood and read every last bit. Think of how many documents you have to go through to buy a house. There's a lot of content there. So it's a bit of a weird analogy, but yeah. So I think if you've got a solid strategy, then you won't be wasting time at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I agree on that point. And I think for this one, maybe they're a little bit more hand in hand when it comes to that. But I'd say on the back end of relationship building, organic would trump paid for the actual relationship building itself.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So we've got 2 more to go now. So I feel like organic is racing ahead, so I'm feeling a little bit smug. Yes. Let's talk about how we can measure performance. So when it comes to organic, there's loads of ways to measure performance when it comes to what we do. So there's things like Google Analytics. There's all your inbuilt social analytics as well. Things like on your LinkedIn, they've always got their own inbuilt things you can see how you're doing with impressions and comments and engagement and views. And there's also SEO tools. We love SEMrush. I think it's absolutely excellent. The free version is really, really good. There's lots of other SEO tools do exist, but you generally have to wait a decent amount of time to see trends and patterns. And it's not necessarily so that social analytics, Google Analytics, accurate. So SEO tools, not necessarily. So we've seen a few times there is a bit of a discrepancy between the results on SEMrush and the results in Google Analytics. So you can measure things, but it's a little bit broader, and it does take time to see trends and patterns, and you have to keep on sort of tweaking it to see what you want to see. I think paid is probably a little ahead of organic in this way, or quite a lot.
Yeah, so I guess from the tool aspect that you've mentioned there, there's actually quite a bit of overlap, I guess, in the tools that we use. SEMrush, of course, is amazing. Ubersuggest is quite good for keyword research. We've been using a lot of SpyFu as well recently, if people want to have a look into that, and it can give a real good insight into kind of keywords that are working. You can see, of course, the generic data, such as the immediate monthly averages for the past 3 months, how much they've been searched online, what the average cost per click is. So you can budget a little bit better based on what you want to put in. If it's a little bit too expensive, you can avoid that keyword. But on SpyFu as well, you can also look into any website and look at your competitors, what keywords they're bidding on. And you can also delve into maybe particular keywords and seeing how long they've advertised for a specific phrase or keyword, to give you a bit of an inclination of, okay, they've bidded on this for the past 6 months. This must be quite a profitable keyword for this particular firm. I think we'll utilize that and bring it in. And you can look at as well from a copy standpoint, you can look at what copy and headlines they use that take up the bulk of their budget. So if there might be a particular headline that's shown 2/3 of the time above all other 10 headlines, so you can think, okay, this is one that people are really receptive to on Google when they're searching, and one that they click through a lot with, and one that they interact with. So those are some great tools when it comes to measuring performance on that side of things. And I guess the big benefit with paid is that you really get immediate access to feedback on what's working, what's underperforming, and the return on your investment of the expenditure. So you can see our media buyers will look for yesterday, how much the clients have spent, what type of leads they've been generated. And then you can delve in, you can look at particular keywords over the space of a month. You may see that there's keywords maybe that are overspending compared to the rest of the group, so you can get rid of those. And you just constantly want to find little ways in order to optimize your account, take out underperformers. And yeah, there's a lot of testing and performance measures that can be done from that paid side of things.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds a lot more. You can do a lot more, I think, with paid. But don't you have to be constantly watching a paid campaign to see if it's working? And if so, isn't that like super expensive to have a paid expert constant? You were saying about every 7 to 10 days. You know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So what I would say is, when it comes to your paid campaigns, really the optimizations of any campaign is where the real value is made. So yeah, you can take a fair bit of time analysing your account. You want to look at the inquiries that are coming through. What's the quality like? What particular phrases and keywords are bringing those type of inquiries? You want to look at the conversions, the instructions on the back end. And I guess when you're spending every month on Google ad campaigns, do you really just want to kind of put a budget out there and just let Google do what Google does and spend the money? Or do you want to have the limitation and really overview things to see how it can be spent better, how it can be made more profitable, and how you can, like I said, bring the lead cost down, bring the instruction cost down? So you want to ensure that you're only bidding on keywords and phrases that are producing a return for the business, and a profitable return at that. So like I said, the potential optimizations that you want to spot can come from stuff like certain keywords may be super expensive and be a bit of an anomaly in an ad group. So I'd recommend getting rid of those. And okay, Lindsay, it's SpyFu was the tool, just to answer the question there. So if you want to have a look on that,
SPYFU, by the way.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I said, you just want to kind of constantly optimize the campaigns, and it can take a little bit of time. Another thing that you can do as well is when it comes to adding negative keyword lists. So you may notice, if you've run Google ads in the past for the firm, that dependent on the type of targeting that you do, whether it's a broad match, phrase match, between those two, Google will often kind of, a broad match gives Google license to put your ad for anywhere that's relevant to that particular keyword. If you typed in divorce solicitors under broad match, Google may start showing your ad for divorce solicitor jobs near me. So you really want to be look into those search terms which comes up under the keywords, and start building a negative keyword list, which is vital to optimizing the spend, bringing the spend down, and making sure you're only bidding on words and phrases that are going to benefit the firm and bring that ROI in.
That's really important. That's something I didn't know about, was negative keywords, and what you don't want just as much as what you want. It's all back search intent. We should do a session on search intent. I think that all comes under the same thing, doesn't it? Okay, so I think with the testing and measuring performance, it's got to be paid. I can't really compete against that. Right, last one, make or break now. So with our final category, it's either going to end at 5-3 or a draw at the moment. It's retargeting, and I'm not so happy about this because I feel like this is going to end up as a draw. So how effectively can we find the people who've engaged and market to them again automatically? I'm going to put my hands up straight away and say I'm going to admit defeat. We can't. We can't do that in organic marketing. We can do so much, and it's so wonderful and so creative, but just doesn't work that way. We can't find those specific individuals later on in their journey. So Garret, I think you might have this one.
I think so. I guess for retargeting, really, for paid, it's incredible what you can do on the back end. And what I'd always advise is just tracking and utilizing all of the online data that you're generating. You're pushing so much traffic to your website, to certain pages, and not all of that traffic is converting to an inquiry. So it's how do you make the most of everyone that's visiting your website, and it's traffic that you're buying. So how do you make sure if they've been pushed through and they haven't converted for whatever reason, how can you make the most of those? And you can look at certain statistics, such as how many times they've visited the website, and set up retargeting strategies to target those people that have visited the website, and for whatever reason, it's often people are looking through and they'll drop off for one reason or the other, whether they're having an argument with the other half and they shut their laptop down, but for whatever reason they may not convert. And it's similar to, me myself, I was looking for a random example, I was looking for some new trainers the other day, and for whatever reason, I really like this pair and I didn't end up buying them. But every time I went around on the internet for the next few days, this one pair of trainers that I once looked at just seemed to follow me everywhere I go. And it's a similar concept to that. I'm sure you've had that as well. Heather, when browsing online.
Yeah, I'm getting married soon, so all these wedding adverts all over the place. Retargeting me, yeah.
And it's that similar concept where it doesn't just have to be for e-commerce. You can actually do it for service-based business based on people's intent, like we've mentioned. What websites have they been visiting? Are they likely to be a client for yourselves if you do retarget those? And you group these people and hit them with retargeting ads once they tick certain criteria.
Okay, brilliant. So are you able to tell me exact names of people who are visiting the site?
So unless someone opts in, fills in their details, fills in a form, you won't be able to see to that level of detail for their name. But what you do have access to is a host of different information that can be used to convert lost traffic. So you can see what pages people are visiting, for one. You can see how many pages they've visited on the website. You can see how long they've stayed on your website, where they found you, where they came from. Are they new? Are they a returning customer? Where's that traffic located from? And what we like to do is then set up certain metrics. So one that we set recently is for people that have visited a certain page on the website of the firm we're working with. They've visited a certain page at least 3 times in the last week. They would then be grouped into our retargeting audience and be hit with a display ad that would come up on different websites that maybe aren't even in relation to what they're looking at that given time. But because they fit the audience that we set, they'll be hit with those retargeting ads.
That's clever stuff. It's so clever, and it really is. The way that your phone can listen to what you're saying. Again, last night my partner was saying he had a bad back, and then suddenly up on his feed stuff about a bad back. It's scary sometimes. Yeah. I think. And Mariona's just said, sometimes I think about something, then boom, the ad is there. I don't know exactly how that feels.
Definitely, it is almost scary, the amount of data points that can find on yourself, but it's useful to businesses and to firms, so it's incredible from that standpoint. In the right hands, very, very powerful, isn't it? So I think that last one, I didn't sound hope in hell with that one. But we've got paid for and organic for. So Gemma, if you want the next up, it's a draw. Yeah, perfect. So I think as an overview, I guess there's not really one avenue that's worth putting all your eggs into. Neither organic nor paid is particularly better than the other, and they're both legitimate marketing strategies that can be used for different purposes. So I'd say it really comes down to the objectives of yourself and of the firm at any given time. What you're trying to achieve in the short term, the next 4 weeks, what you're trying to achieve in the next 6 weeks, and you can really use these to go hand in hand. You can use organic strategy to test waters of what works, build those relationships, and you can use paid advertising to generate that traffic, those eyeballs, those leads in the immediate short term. You can create that cash flow early on by having that paid advertising strategy running from the off to bring in those clients. So I think together it's a dangerous combination for any firm when done correctly. Yeah, it really is. I completely agree. You can really sort of test one and then boost it with the other, can't you? It really makes sense. You can get that slow and quick together. It's absolutely perfect. Just the last thing for everybody, we've got an exclusive attendee offer, and that counts for all the people that are watching this on a replay later on, which is hopefully loads of you. So you might have been listening thinking, right, okay, there's a lot of information, paid and organic. I'm still not quite sure. I've got questions about
paid work that I've done. I've got questions about organic. I'm not quite sure where I want to put it. I would like to know, an argument from both sides, but for my firm and for my specific situation. So we've got an offer, and it's completely free. It's worth £595, and you get both of these lovely red-headed Brummie people. So director of Ads for Lawyers, Garret, and then director of Beasting Digital, which is me. So you're getting two very senior people for a full hour for your firm. You can bring as many people as you want to that session, and we are there to consult and to answer all of your questions and help you decide what you might need to do. So we're going to put a link into the comments here, and we're also going to pop it out by LinkedIn message. Quite a few of you have sent us your email addresses because you'd like the replay. If you'd like that, please just let us know. If you just email hello@beasting-digital.com, that's hello@beasting-digital.com. If you want to pop your email over there, we can send you a replay there, and we'll pop out the link. If you prefer to just speak to one of us, we'll send out those links as well, so you can speak to just Garret or just me if you're more confident as to what you'd like advice on. And that is it, I think. Thanks everybody for attending. If you have any more questions, because this is a LinkedIn Live, they'll come up as comments for us later on my profile. So I'll tag Garret for paid ones, and I'll answer your organic ones myself. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending and for spending this time with us. I think we're bang on time, 20 seconds before an hour. So I'm really pleased with that. Yeah, thank you very much. And speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Speak soon.
Thank you.